Hello, Satta. Can you see me now?
I can still only see your profile pic.
Okay, so maybe that's how it's
Oh,
gonna.
wait, I see something says live. Yep, it's still showing your profile pic. Well, maybe that's how it appears on my phone, but maybe it won't appear like
Okay,
that on.
okay. All right, so we'll see. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 4 of the Polished Lifestyle TV. I'm so excited to have my special guest tonight, Miss Satta Jallah, aka the Holistic Moon Goddess.
Oh, I saw you for a hot second
Ah, maybe turn
when
your
I
camera
flipped the
around.
camera. Yeah,
There you
turn your camera
go.
horizontally. Can you see
I
me?
see you perfectly.
Well, now, wait, let me.
I see you great.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, awesome, awesome. So we are so excited to be here for the 4th episode of the Polished Lifestyle TV. My name is Sterling Clinton Spellman, the Polisher, CEO of Polish, where I teach women how to lead and shine bright in all areas of their life to inspire others, but most importantly, to inspire themselves. I'm here with our special guest, the Holistic Moon Goddess, who is going to drop some holistic golden nuggets tonight and diamonds. So I'm so excited to have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Satta.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Like, this is such a blessing. I can't even tell you, like, I admire you so much. I have been watching your movements and I've been so proud of you, happy for you. And I also learn a lot from you as well too. So this is a mutual exchange of teaching, energy, and
Yeah,
all that good stuff. So I thank you for establishing a platform like this,
yeah,
allowing me to share what it is I know. Like, you've been really like trying to push this information. You and my other sister friend, Andrea Amathodon, have been telling me like, yo, no one's really spitting this knowledge. I'm like, for real? Because I have my own little conscious circle of people,
yes,
you know what I mean, that I follow and I look at and stuff like that, that have, a lot of followers. But again, you know, there's more teachers to be, you know what I'm saying, to be out there in the community. So I want to thank you for always encouraging me to put this knowledge out there, because I've been going back and forth with it, and saying like, well, because I'm scaring me. But
yeah,
now I'm not afraid of the haters. You know what I'm saying? Haters are gonna hate, even if, you know what I'm saying, you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. They're still gonna hate. So whatever.
absolutely. And on our journey, we will learn that this message isn't for everybody.
Right, right, right.
It's for
Absolutely.
specific people out there who are going to receive it. And so that's why we always need to be our authentic self, and our tribe will be attracted by our vibe, by who we are and what we have to teach them and what we have to talk about. And that's something I've learned, because they said when you speak to everybody, that means you're speaking to no one. So just
Mm,
speak to
you
who you're
better
supposed
say
to
that.
speak to, and they will hear it. So absolutely. While we get settled, I'm going to read Satta's bio so you all can learn a little bit about her, and then we will get right into the interview. So Satta Jallah, aka the Holistic Moon Goddess, is an accomplished entrepreneur, writer, artist, and holistic health practitioner. She is a certified yoga teacher and doula, and is currently furthering her education in yoga therapy and holistic nursing. She is the co-author of a wellness guide called Self-Care for Brown Girls, and her second self-published book, The Sweet Yoni Love Letters: Holistic Secrets for a Healthy and Orgasmic Vagina, is set to be released this August. Satta is extremely passionate about impacting communities and organizations by building awareness and advocacy around issues such as domestic violence, health disparities within communities of color, and reproductive justice. In 2010, Satta served as the official spokesperson for the statewide Domestic Violence Awareness Campaign, where she was able to be a keynote speaker at the National Convention for the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. She has also been able to combine the power of arts and activism by performing in and co-writing the two-time Congressional Award-winning stage play Behind Closed Doors. Satta is the founder and CEO of Holistic Roots, LLC, where the mission is to empower women to reclaim and own their health, wealth, and beauty from the inside out. So thank you, Satta, for being here. I always like to tell a little story about how I know or met the person. So Satta and I are both Liberian, and we are sister cousins. We grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, and we were a part of the Liberian youth. Shout out to all the LIB people out there. Today's Independence Day. Happy 26th.
Right.
And that's how we know each other. We used to dance together. We used to just have fun together. And now, as we have grown into women, we support each other through different events. Satta has spoken at my school. I've hired her to be a speaker several times at my school, where the kids just love her. They love everything about her. And so tonight you all are going to grow to love her too.
Oh, thank you so much. And we're family. We're family now.
Yes.
Both of our cousins are married, so that's why I'll be calling you my sister cousin.
Yes.
Yes. We're cousins by marriage.
Yes.
Betty Clinton is my first cousin, my maternal first cousin, and she's married to your cousin, Abner Clinton. So
yes, yes, yes. You see that? That's so crazy. I mean, like, the Liberian community, my husband always says, he's like, Sterling, is this your real cousin? Because he said he can call everybody Auntie. I was like, no, we really are related. Like,
I know, we do that. And that's the beauty of being a part of a large African community, you know, a community that I guess transplanted here, you know what I mean? But with Liberians, it's a back and forth journey of us being in Providence, New England, you know what I mean, and going back and forth. I actually wrote a poem about it. It's called The Back and Forth Journey. But I'm so happy to be on this show, and it's the July 26th Liberian Independence Day. Whoop whoop! You know, we're in the house, and yeah.
So it's so awesome. Like I said, you know, it was divine that we're here on the 26th together.
Right.
We're supposed to shoot the show today, and even just to let you in on a little secret, to tell you how resilient Satta and I am. We have been trying for an hour to get this thing to work. The other platform that we were using just decided not to work tonight. So we're on another platform because we don't give up. This message is going to get out into the world. You know, when you have a message, sometimes the enemy tries to block it. But this message is going to get out tonight because people need to be woke. And I'm going to just leave it there. So my first question to you is, so before, in case someone is new to the show, I created the Polished Lifestyle TV because I wanted to showcase women who are leading and shining bright in their life. So what does that mean? Leading in your life means that you are doing the exact thing that you want to do. You're not allowing outside forces, even sometimes the negative energy in your body, in your mind, spirit, trying to hold you back. You're not allowing it. You're allowing your true essence to lead in your life. You're allowing who you really are to lead in your life. And the shining bright part of Polished is about you being the best version of yourself, because we know when we are not trying to be somebody else, when we are being who we are, our true and authentic self, that's when we shine the most. Absolutely. That's where we shine the most, not when we're hiding under the tarnishment of our mistakes or whatever it is. We are shining bright when we are the best version of ourselves. So this show was created for me to showcase women who are doing exactly that. So Satta, my first question for you is, can you please tell us about a time where you felt tarnished, you felt like you weren't leading or shining bright in your life?
Oh my gosh, like right now, not right now in this moment, but I'm going through a particular season in my life that didn't things didn't line up and go as planned, you know, as I would like. But you know, and feeling damaged and feeling like, oh my gosh, you know, how am I going to get over this obstacle, or how am I going to, and mainly the obstacle is mainly like societal norms
Yes.
that are keeping me a prisoner, you know. Like I was saying to my, because I went to Boston earlier today, and on my way back, I was saying to myself, you know what? Because I was thinking of like the books and stuff that have inspired me, because I know that was one of the things that you had me to prepare for. And there was this one book in particular that came to mind called Women Who Run with the Wolves. This is like my go-to book when I am feeling out of place. You know, this book is by a doctor. Her name is Clarissa Pincola Estes, and she is a phenomenal writer, psychotherapist, as well as storyteller and dream interpreter. You
Okay.
know, if like she's just like this amazing woman, and she talks about the wild woman archetype,
Okay.
right? And I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm the wild woman archetype. You know what I mean? Because everything I do is against those social norms. You know what I mean? I even went out with my friend, I had lunch with my friend the other day, and we were talking about how we don't, you know, subscribe to those social norms. You know what I mean? Especially because her and I, we both went to a private boarding school. She went to boarding school in Connecticut. I went to boarding school in Pennsylvania. And, you know, when we growing up or being, you know, accultured in those environments,
Yeah.
um, social etiquette, you know what I mean, is something that is highly stressed. When I talk about, I can go to a fine dining restaurant and know which the salad fork, and how to, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, all that stuff. I've been trained up in that, but I don't care for those norms, because that's a form of, you know, social control. And me being a wild woman, you know, that's not going to work for me. And I'm finding out that I'm slowly, like the way my life is unfolding, it's allowing me to slowly chip away at those paradigms.
Indoctrination.
Yeah, the indoctrination, the old social paradigms that don't fit in this current age. You know what I mean? And just don't fit for me. And I'm still looking for the courage to continue to live in my authenticity, because I actually facilitated a workshop and attended a Women of Color retreat last month. And I made a promise to myself that I was going to live unapologetically. I was going to live authentically and unapologetically. And, you know, the universe and life is really, you know, thrusting me in that type of position right now. It's scary at times. It feels lonely, you know, because it seems as everyone around me um, has, you know, found their nice little safe space in those social norms, and I haven't, and it feels lonely sometimes. But I know that I'm on this journey to start to talk about those things that, you know what I mean, are really holding us from having living authentic lives, and being in authentic relationships, because that's something that I've been struggling with as well. Finding someone, you know what I mean, to be partnered with, and live an authentic, I mean, it's definitely authentic, but you know what I'm saying, not balanced really. So, you know, those
Yes.
type of things is what I'm struggling with right now. But you know, where that's life, right?
That's it.
That's what
And you
makes
know
the
what?
story juicy.
Exactly. And you know what I was going to say? I appreciate you for being transparent because, you know, and I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been my second guest, Sandra DeBose, where she was saying, you know, sometimes as women, we hear other people's successes or bios, or sometimes we hear our own bios, and we're like, who is that person? Because sometimes we are still we're not perfect. We're still dealing with, we're still in process. That's what she
Right.
said. We
Right.
are still in process. So I love that you mentioned that, because I want our listeners and our viewers to understand that you may be a person that's leading and shining bright, but you're still in process. And that's part of being a human. You have to be constantly in process. If you stop and say, oh, I arrived, I'm perfect, you're lying to yourself,
Right.
because that's not what life is about. You are ever changing, just like the world, the earth spins. We are always changing. Things are always happening. So thank you for being authentic and transparent in you saying that. And it really leads to my next question, where is, so tell me about a time when you or about that time where like something clicked. And I think you kind of said it about you being at the retreat, but maybe
Yeah.
you could go a little bit more into detail about what clicked for you that said, you know what, I can lead. I can be my own person. I can be the best version of myself.
Um, it clicked for me definitely at the retreat. And then I guess moments in my meditation time where that has clicked for me. Where I would just hear that soft, subtle voice say, like, this is a part of the work, you know, this is a part of why you came. This is a part of why you chose to reincarnate in this lifetime right now. You know what I mean? To be, because I truly believe that I am living this life now to voice and address the things that my grandmother couldn't voice and address.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like she, like, you know, when I think of my grandmother and the life that she lived, you know, post-colonial Africa, you know, having multiple children by multiple men, living in, you know, third world, well, quote unquote, third world poverty, and not having access to those basic things, and being forced to live in just survival mode, not ever knowing and understanding what it means to thrive. You know what I mean? Like somebody, I'm part of a Facebook group, and one of the exercises, or one of the things that she just put out there, was put the words I and am, and then state whatever it is, you know, you want to state after that. And I said,
Absolutely.
I am the my ancestors' dreams come true. You
Yes.
know, I feel like I'm their dream come true. I feel like I'm my grandmother's dream come true. You know, I'm my auntie's dream come true, because these were very revolutionary women in their own way. They were mavericks in their own way, but because they didn't have, because of those social norms kind of keeping them in a box, or, you know,
Yes.
silencing them and relegating them to a place of silence, you know what I mean? They couldn't, you know, live and dance and be free in this liberal environment. And then here now, fast forward to 2016, their grandchild or their niece now was, you know what I'm saying, practically raised in America. You know what I'm saying? Even though I have African values, but there's a part of me that has this very liberal
Yeah.
American attitude. You know what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
I'm very different in that respect. So just being able to embrace that, and you know, and just live in that freedom and that, you know, liberty. And even sometimes I feel energy, because I'm a very empathic person, so I feel other people's energy. I
Yeah.
feel the vexation from other people, like, how dare you? You know what I mean? How dare you be a 35-year-old mother and still feeling like you can dance and shake your booty?
Yes.
You know,
No,
the way
it's
you
true.
do. You know, because one of my cousins tried to do that to me one time, and tried to, like, say, come on, you're a mother now. You can't be, you know what I'm saying, the way you used to be wilding out and dancing at the parties. You can't be doing that no more. I'm
What
like, who
does that have to
said?
do with it?
Who said and why? You know what I'm saying? That even made me want to dance even harder.
Yep.
You know?
You know,
So,
you bring up
yeah.
a really interesting point because and bring it into our Liberian heritage because that's what we're talking about. You know, our ancestors
Hmm.
and everything. I was just thinking about when I colored my hair, when I dyed my hair red, and
Uh-huh.
some of the comments I got was, "You're a married woman. You're a mother. Why would you color your hair red? You're a respectable woman." And I'm like, what does the color of my hair have to
Has
be
to do
like?
with
So
my
now,
respectability, right?
yeah, what does that have to do with my respectability? What does that have to do with anything? And it's so funny. So last night I did a telesummit for one of my friends, Rebecca Huggins, and it was talking about igniting your passion through
Right.
speaking. And I was talking about how, you know, speaking, a form of a speaking engagement could be this, you know, speaking on a TV series or a podcast or something. And I was telling them about the show, and I was saying that, you know, I'm going to have Satta, the holistic moon goddess, come on. And it was asking me, well, what is she going to talk about? And I was saying she's going to talk about the yoni. So they were, of course, they were like, what are you talking about? So I said to them, you know what's so interesting and kind of scary for me is that, and I'm happy for my husband who is, even though I was born here too, but he was born here, so he's an American, and his roots, his grandfather's from Barbuda, and his on his father's side, on his mother's side, they're Native Indians,
Okay.
and he really got me. Even though I'm big into my Liberian culture,
Hmm.
he really got me into African roots and saying like, um,
Mm.
Sterling, listen, you don't realize that as even as Liberians, because of our back and forth, you know what I'm
Yeah,
talking
because
about?
of post colonization, like the colonization. Yeah.
Absolutely. He
Hmm.
said half of them don't know and are not connected to their roots, meaning our African roots, our African religion.
Yes, I
And
love the brother. Yes, you have
listen,
a good husband. You have the
yes,
best husband. For him to
yes, he was like,
understand
they
that
don't know
is
it.
so dope.
I'm telling you, Sata, he's like, they don't know it. So even to talk about the connection of your yoni and you birthing your vision and all these different things, it's like they're looking at you like you're crazy. Even me breastfeeding my child is a problem, and different things like that. So really having, like, I love what you're talking about and what you talk about. This is why I encourage you so much, because I really feel like we, as black people in the diaspora, we have been stripped of our culture.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, mainstream white America has taken hold of breastfeeding their children and wearing their babies and now tying their head and doing the bantu knots and even meditating and praying to for things and affirmation and manifestation. This is African,
Yeah, yeah, very African centered practices,
and it's
and
been
that's
stripped
how
from us.
I started to learn, like on my journey becoming a holistic practitioner. I was in a place where things just started to things. I've always questioned things, and you know what I mean. Like I kind of went further and further into the rabbit hole as I got older, and started to just grab onto the things that made sense to me and that resonated with my spirit first. You know what I mean? And being comfortable with relying on, okay, this really aligns with my spirit, this really resonates like as true with my spirit, as opposed to always looking outside of myself and saying like, well, does, you know what I mean, the church really approve of this, or does, you know what I mean, my family really? No, I made that connection with self, and this is why this is like when my upcoming book is so important. It's kind of like the precursor to the following book, which is more about like, short stories and poems and
Yeah.
essays about the very things that we're talking about, you know. So yeah, like it's so important for us to reclaim, you know what I mean? Like when holistic roots is about reclaiming and owning it, you know what I'm saying? Reclaiming and owning those roots. You know what I mean? The fact that I can do yoni steaming, where medical allopathic Western medicine discourages. I just saw a video put out by a group of registered nurses that speak against uh, hold on, I'm sorry, that speak, can you still hear
I can
me?
still hear you.
Okay. That speak against you know, yoni steaming, because, you know, oh, the vagina is self-cleaning, you know what I mean? So you don't need to do, and I'm saying to myself, it's not about, it's not even a hygienical practice, it's a
No.
therapeutic practice. The reason why we would sit in a sauna, and we know the therapeutic
Thank
benefits that
you.
we get, our skin gets from sitting in a sauna, is the same thing our yoni experiences therapeutically, and rightfully so, especially considering all of the atrocities that women of African descent have experienced. Yes, we do need to take time before and after our moon cycle to be um, doing yoni therapy. It's necessary. It's not about being clean. Yeah, I know my punani is clean. You know what I'm saying? It's a clean vessel. I even talk about that in one of my other writings. You know, we've been conditioned to think that, you know what I mean, the vagina is something, this dirty thing. Like even in Leviticus, how it says, you know what I mean, the woman when she's on her cycle, she's unclean, and you shouldn't touch her for 7 days. And if you touch her, then you become unclean as well. And all of those things are male patriarchal,
Mm,
dominant forms of control. You know what I mean? To
yes.
control the woman's body, because once we become disconnected with our bodies and disconnected
You're just
with,
an
you know what I mean,
object.
our sexuality, we can be controlled.
Yep. And we could be objects. And you know, one of the things, so for the people who don't know, your yoni is your vagina. Okay? In case you're like, what are they talking about?
Right.
One of the things that I loved, and I had Sata come and speak at my school about, was teaching young women about their feminine power. And you know, you see a lot of things where people are like, oh yeah, the PUSSY has power, the Punani got power, and blah 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 blah, but they're not really explaining it to people. They're just
Right.
using it as a sexual uh, um, object to say that it
Right.
can trap
Right.
men, hold men, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
really explaining to women the power we have as women. You know, so can
Right.
you talk to us a little bit more about that? And then we want to hear about your book, okay?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, like, you know, for me, that was my journey. So let me kind of go, you know, kind of talk about my journey and my life story a little bit, and how I came into this practice. You know, we all know now that I am first generation Liberian, born to Liberian immigrants here, that immigrated here, you know, in the 1980s, late 70s, early 1980s,
So
and
excuse me really quick. Did you move in your room because you? Oh, there you are. You're better now. You were looking blurry.
okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I had to people
Shift.
are over here messaging me.
I
I'm
know.
on my phone right now. They're messaging me saying like, this is so powerful. Like this brother just messaged me and said this is what we're saying right now is powerful. So I'm assuming
I don't know
he's
how they can
watching this
see
live.
me.
Girl, let it flow. Yes, the message is getting out
Yeah,
tonight.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know people are on.
You know, so I just got a call, you know, and it just totally took you off of speaker. So I kind of had to readjust myself a little bit. But
Okay, there
okay,
you are.
so
Clear.
yeah. Okay, great. So how I came on this journey of becoming a successful entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? I have my own body care line that I created. I'm a practicing yoga teacher, certified, you know, moving forward, become a yoga therapist. That is the goal. And a boy.
You're breaking up. No, come back. Sis, you dropped off. I can't hear you at all. You're like frozen. So we'll give Sata a few seconds to come back in. She might have to jump back in. And I didn't even know people are viewing us. That's awesome. She'll be back on for all our viewers. The holistic moon goddess will be back in the seat, so stay tuned. Checking the messages to see what she said. Kimna, Kimna. She'll be back in a few. It's just getting good. Let me message her. Hey, there you are.
Yes, I'm back.
Awesome.
Girl,
Okay.
you know I'm spitting some truth right now though, right?
Right?
That's why this is happening. That's why this is happening.
Look, Donald Trump moved from people's computer. No,
You know I'm spitting some truth right now because this thing, yo, I've never had these type of hiccups, you know what I'm saying, on
yeah.
a conversation like this, but it's all good. I'm back. I'm gonna pick up where I left off.
Yes.
So pretty much what I was trying to explain is um, it was pain that brought me to my purpose. Pain brought me to my purpose. I grew up as a child. I had both mother and father, you know, that raised me. Um, but I grew up witnessing a lot of domestic violence.
Okay.
My father was very, very abusive to my mother. They were in a 17-year
Wow.
abusive relationship. Okay, and I witnessed and absorbed all of those images, all of the energy, the feelings, the trauma that comes along with that, and it conditioned me in a certain way. You know what I mean? There were times where I was afraid to, you know, even eat. You know, different things like that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of trauma and fear, you know. So what now propelled me fast forward into my adult life, I started to witness those same patterns in my relationships. I was in a long-term relationship, very volatile, um, where it was like this possessive energy
Yeah.
that, you know what I mean, was taking over the relationship, to the point where it did get physically violent, and I had to get law enforcement involved. Now, who was very involved, this is when I was in college. I was very involved in my college community. I was even a student community leader for one of the organizations, and I knew about police brutality and how it affects our communities and different things like that. I remember doing a speaking engagement one time at Johnson and Wales University, and one of the brothers stood up and asked me, he's like, well, you have brothers, don't you? How could you have, you know what I'm saying, gone through that and your brothers didn't do anything about it? And I had to break down to him the dynamics, like, you know, my brothers, you know what I'm saying, would have wrecked shop on him. And so much so to the point where he would have probably had to go to jail. I didn't want to deal with the reality of
Yes.
having one of my loved ones, both of my loved ones, even having to go to jail over this. You know what I mean? Because of the conditioning that, I'm supposed to be relegated to the back. You know what I mean? Even though I'm hurting, I'm going through all of this pain, you know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to tell. I'm not supposed to share that because that can cause a lot of irreparable repercussions, you know what I mean? Damaging repercussions to, you know what I mean, men of color. You know what I mean? Like I was putting them so much so before myself to the point where I said, no, enough is enough. I can't do that anymore. And as time went on, like the repetitive patterns happening, and that's when I became highly involved in the domestic violence awareness movement. I served as a peer educator with an organization for I want to say 8 years. And then I moved on into a task force with the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and I worked with them for 5 years, and that's how I was able to, start doing speaking engagements on a national level, sharing my story, because, people found my story compelling because here I was, the statistic. I am the textbook statistic, a child who witnessed,
Yeah.
now experiencing her own abusive relationship patterns in her life. You know what I mean? And it was all great and well, all the things that I learned, you know what I mean, about the connections that, even, STDs has in conjunction with being in a violent relationship or abusive relationship, all of that, and the different forms in which, abuse can take, because a lot of people, when they hear domestic violence, they think physically automatically. They don't think about the financial abuse. They don't think about psychological. They don't think about, verbal. They don't think about, all the other subtle forms of abuse
Yes.
that someone can undergo. So I learned all the intricacies of what violence really looks like. But the thing that was missing is, okay, how do I heal from all of this? Because I can talk myself until I'm blue in the face, because I started to feel like I was getting these speaking engagements, I was, doing keynote addresses, but yet still these patterns are persisting in my life. You know what I mean? What's going on with that? I'm educated about this stuff. I know all the ins and outs. I know all the ABCs and the warning signs and the red flags. Why does this keep on? Why is this a cycle? Why is this a pattern? So the question wasn't answered until, kind of serendipitously, I came into becoming doing yoga. So as the universe would have it, my yoga teacher, she came to one of my dance classes because I was teaching an African dance class downtown, and she had heard about it. And she had brought like a whole entourage of women of color with her, and we all had a blast in my dance class. And that's what kind of now catapulted me to a position where I can now start facilitating, using my cultural dance as a platform now for wellness, because this woman, is like legendary. She's known in the yoga community, especially the Black yoga community, and being like one of the prominent Black yoga figures in New England. She came to my class and had a ball with my class, and asked me to facilitate a workshop at her annual Women of Color yoga retreat. And that's how my connection with Maya Breuer started. And when she kept on coming to my class, and then she's like, you know what, Sata, you would make a great yoga teacher. I was like, really? And I've always, that was something that would always kind of be in the back of my mind. Like, it would be great to teach yoga. But again, coming from that African, post-colonial African Christian background, you know what I'm saying? That was
Go play
taboo.
witchcraft and go play the Buddha.
Exactly. That was taboo, right?
Yeah.
So I never really actively pursued it until she said that. And she was like, I offer scholarships to women of color because, you know what I mean, there's not a lot of us in this line of work. So I offer a scholarship to women of color to get certified. And that was the thing that changed my life. At the time that she approached me with that, I was in another abusive relationship. I was in a And I was just kind of coming out of it because we were doing the back and forth dance for a couple of months. And during that process, during the breakup, you know what I mean, I was in my 9-month yoga training. And this is like a very intense self-study
Oh
program. The way
yeah.
she set it up, it's not one of those like, certifications where you just go to Costa Rica for the weekend and get certified.
Yeah.
No, this was a 9-month intense study of self. Like there were days when I would come home and I would be like so energetically drained because there was so much stuff. So much of my stuff was coming out. I had to confront so much of my emotional stuff. I had to confront so much of my traumatic past. You know what I mean? And when I was in my mid to late 20s, like not knowing how to navigate that. But thank God, yoga practice. It was the yoga practice, and mind you, there was a season in my life where I was in church every Sunday, every Wednesday, doing fasting and praying and tarrying and all of these things. You know what I'm saying? And not to say like those things don't have power, but the initiation of building the discipline that I needed. So when I started my yoga program, I stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I saw the
Yeah.
spiritual significance. I saw the spiritual transformation starting to happen, and now I was actually given tangible tools to use to work through those emotions, because
Yes.
there were times where I would have panic attacks, shortness of breath. But you know what I mean, it was learning about pranayama. Pranayama in Sanskrit means energy, giving energy back to yourself with the breath, with practicing different breathing techniques. And there was this one particular breathing pranayama technique called ujjayi breath, which means ocean breath, where you're pretty much you're replicating your breath pattern sounds like the ocean. You know what I mean? And every time I did that breath, it calmed every anxiety attack that I had inside. And I was like, yo, like this stuff is working. Like
Yeah.
this is really getting me to that place of the deep subconscious nitty gritty. You know what I mean? Because in coming up in the church, you're just taught to, like, what I'm saying, oh, you fasted about it, you prayed about it, the curse is broken. You know what I'm saying? But
But half the time you
there
don't
was
even know what you're praying about, and this is what I tell people that you know the church is missing, and I shouldn't say all churches, but
right,
they're so afraid, I think, for people to really do the self work. If you
right,
get what I'm saying, to teach people how to do the self work, because you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have addressed what is really going on inside. We don't want to talk about abortion. We don't want to talk about, and if we do talk about abortion, we're knocking people. We're not talking about the emotional thing that people are going through. We want to talk about domestic. We don't want to talk about domestic violence. We don't want to talk about molestation. We don't want to talk about any of those things that people are really facing in the church. We just say bottle it up and pray. But there's a process that you have to go through to be able to even pray for those things.
mm-hmm.
You
There's
know?
intricate, like, there's, you know what I'm saying, there's certain emotional intricacies that come with these traumas. You know what I mean? And back to what you said, like, they don't want people to do the self work, because if people start doing the self work, they won't,
Feel like they need the
necessarily
church.
rely on the system anymore. Which, you know what I mean? Which I feel like if they would create, you know what I'm saying, a more communal healing atmosphere, a real, authentic communal healing atmosphere, it wouldn't necessarily be like that. But
Yes.
you know what I mean? Some of the prehistoric churches were, again, based on controlling the masses. You know what I mean? We can go on about that, and not to bash the church, but to,
No.
tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because this is history. This is, you know what I mean? Like, we can go into the Spanish Inquisition and talk about, the things that were going on that proved that it was about social control of the masses. But so when I started getting into my yoga practice, it just started unraveling all of these things, and it made me to want to dig deeper and deeper and understand my subconscious to a deeper level. And you know what I mean, like these, and I to the point where I feel, you know, from all of the meditation that I have done and visiting with the spirit, have come to the realization that like I said earlier in the conversation, I came to live the life that my grandmother always wanted to live. Because I feel like what the things that I've experienced relationship wise, it's it's a transgenerational karmic issue. This is stuff that my mama went through. This is stuff that my grandmama went through, and probably even her mama and the mama before that. You know what I mean? Transgenerational trauma is what I am unraveling. You know what I mean? Because like the other day, I was getting really frustrated. I was like, damn, why did some people just like, I felt like people just have it easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? They don't do half of the inner work that I do, but like they get, you know what I'm saying? Everything just kind of comes together for them. And the spirit had to remind me, listen, because when I started to study, you know, the universal laws, like the basic 12 universal laws, because we all know the popular law of attraction, which is just one of
Yes.
the many
Universal Lord.
universal laws. You know what I mean? And when I got to learn about the first 12 tenets of the universal laws, the laws of karma, you know what I mean? People think, you know what I'm saying, karma is, oh, when you do something bad to somebody, it's going to come back to you. No, when you do good too, it comes back to you. But karma is way more deeper than that. Karma is something that you choose. You know what I'm saying? When you're being formed in your mother's womb, you know what I mean? Your spirit is choosing the karma that you are going to come here to correct. You know what I'm saying? And this is probably from like past lives, and you know what I'm saying, like your ancestors and them, you know, ancestors in their life. And then we go back to African spirituality. We believe that when a child is born, it's the ancestor has returned to us, right? So
Yeah.
if that's the case, if the ancestor has returned to us when a child is born, and we choose the karmic predicaments that we're going to work out in this life, I must have chose, you know what I'm saying, some hard body karmic stuff. You know what I mean? Because knowing the history of my foremothers and then experiencing the stuff that I'm experiencing now, I chose some hard body stuff to come and correct. But
Yes.
I feel like, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't have chosen it if I wasn't fit for the job. You know, so this is what I've chosen, and this is why becoming a holistic practitioner makes so much sense for my life, because when you say something, when you say holistic, you're taking the mind, the body, and the spirit into consideration when you're thinking about healing. It's not a compartmentalized experience like allopathic medicine. Allopathic medicine just treats the symptoms of the dis-ease, but holistic healing takes into consideration what's going on with you mentally, what's going on with you emotionally, what parts of your body is holding that
Yeah.
trauma, and how can we unloosen that? What type of modalities can we use to unloosen that dis-ease or correct that dis-ease? You know what I mean? And it makes so much sense. You know, I've studied, you know, doctors, like the first doctor, not Hippocrates. Hippocrates learned everything he knew from Imhotep, from
Thank
Egypt.
you. Yes.
Imhotep, a master teacher, okay? You talking about someone, he was, you know, at the age of 13, his education level was already on like university status, okay? Whereas Hippocrates only mastered one level of medicine in the Egyptian or the Kemetic healing, of all the Kemetic healing
Yes.
modalities. He only mastered one. Whereas in Hotep, in order to be considered an Imhotep, you had to master 14. When I ever learned that, I was like, oh snap. And
Yeah.
all of those modalities consisted of, you know,
I'm listening.
reflexology, massage, herbology, you know, iridology, looking at your eyes and telling, you know what I'm saying, what's going on with you, all these different modalities. And I was like, yo, you know, so that opened up the rabbit hole even further for me, and made me want to now explore the certain modalities that would work for healing what I was going through. And this is what I'm sharing in my new book, the Sweet Yoni Love Letters, Holistic Secrets for a happy and orgasmic vagina. And people say, well, why the vagina? You know what I'm saying? Of all places, why the vagina? Because that's the portal of life, honey. You know what I mean? That's where it all began. That's where you now became flesh, you know, in that womb, in that uterus, you know, when you were an embryo, and, you know what I'm saying, in that, when you were forming yourself in your mother's womb, that's where all that stuff was now coming into a physical form. You were a spirit being transforming into a physical form to now come onto this earth and have a human experience. That's where it began. So I was like, okay, that's where I got to go back for me. That's where the journey has to go back for me, is the yoni. Even saying yoni, which in Sanskrit is the sacred term for temple, you know, for some place that is sacred, because, you know, that's the portal of life that is so connected to the heavens and the creator, the most high creator, you know. And that's why when I started to research more about the yoni and health and things like that, I was like, wow, yes, my mother, you know, conditioned me, you know what I'm saying, to be a woe unto woman. That one, woe unto woman. This life is supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be difficult. The thing you go through as a woman is hard. And making it so shameful and so heavy and so, you know, burdensome. Yeah. Where, you know what I mean? Where now, as I started to read like books from Queen Afua and Dr. Jewel Pookrum, they explained the divinity, you know, of being a woman and the connectedness that you have to the most high creator because you are a woman. You know what I mean? So you see the paradigm shift, you know what I mean? So these are the things that I'm sharing with women to reconnect with, you know, in this book, because we don't realize that because of those thought patterns, because of that type of paradigm, that's what's causing the disease in our body. That's what's causing the fibroid tumors. That's what's causing the yeast infections. That's what's causing, you know what I mean? Like our bodies are like screaming out to us, like, hello, bring it back, you know? Bring it back to the way it was, you know. And I'm sorry, I'm talking so much. I mean, it's probably questions that you have.
No, it's so good. It's good. You know, I think it's so important for us to understand the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes we're just fed something, and that's what we take, and that's what we just go with. And we don't even know how our bodies function. Mm-hmm. We don't even know that, you know, something. I remember, I think her name is Juanita Bynum. I remember listening to something to her years ago, and she was saying that, you know, people don't realize every time you sleep with someone, every time you allow someone into your space, mm-hmm. You're creating soul ties, and that's what the whole thing about soulmate comes from. Mm-hmm. And I remember after I was having that conversation with Russell, talked about, you know, people don't realize every time you sleep with someone, you're taking on their energy, and you're taking on their whatever went on with them, and now you're walking around here like a mad person because it's inside of them. Or you wonder why sometimes you sleep with somebody one time and now you can't get them out of your head. It's like that you're addicted to this person, but it's because you have allowed them into your space. And then he was saying something that in Egyptian times they used to harness energy from having sex, and through orgasms they used to harness energy to do things. And he's like, it's so powerful. People do not understand the power of the vagina and the penis coming together, and that people just misuse it and think it's just like whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is absolutely right, and that's why I entitled the book, Secrets to Having a Happy Orgasmic Vagina. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, orgasms, they make us happy, and you know what I'm saying, we love them, on a base level. But now, what if you were now introduced to how you can use an orgasm for manifestation purposes?
Yes.
And I tell you, Sterling, in my life, you know what I mean? And I've just been practicing, small glimpses and small levels of it. I've read books by people like Montauk Chia. Montauk Chia is a Thai master healer. He's from Thailand, and he's the master teacher of learning, understanding how to harness that orgasmic energy and bring them through all of the different chakra centers of your body, all the way up to your crown chakra, where you can now manifest, thoughts. And that's how the Sweet Yoni Love Letters came about for me. I was doing a ritual. I was taking my ritual salt bath, you know what I mean? Because salt, the power of sea salt, and the type of how it detoxifies you energetically is very powerful. So I would take, weekly salt baths, and that's when I started learning about the jade egg at the time. That was my first introduction to what a yoni egg was. It was the jade egg practices. In ancient China, a lot of the empresses and queens would use jade eggs when their men would go off to war, and practice the art of, you know what I'm saying, they would call it sexual kung fu, where they would, you know what I'm saying, use the yoni eggs to now exercise their yoni, to a point where they can now arouse themselves to a point where they could use that orgasmic energy for higher manifestation. You know what I mean? And this is why, they revered women. Like in ancient times, a lot of cultures were very matrilineal,
Yes.
matriarchal type of cultures, because they respected that the woman understood. She had like this certain spiritual intuitiveness that,
Yes.
again, because of her connection to the Most High Divine, from being the one who gives life and be able to carry
Yes.
during the whole gestation period and stuff like that. So they would now, use these jade eggs to now give. Even want to say that they were responsible for some of the military tactics that the men would go out and use. We look at someone like a Queen Cleopatra. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about some ill nana?
Right?
Okay. She had two powerful men, just like, like putty in her hand, I mean, but not in a sense, but she knew that she knew how to harness and use her energy for the betterment of the nation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not to say that her ego didn't get in the way sometimes or
Yeah.
whatever, but just the fact that she knew how to now use that feminine power and energy to shape a nation. It's like, yo, so now fast forward to 2016, what could we do as women if we got access to this power again, or this knowledge again? You know what I mean? What could we do for our families? I just explained to you how I feel like I came here to undo some transgenerational trauma in my family bloodline. So it's only right that I now go, and get this arsenal, if you would, to be able to do that. And what would our world look like if other women were equipped with this type of knowledge? What would their families look like? What would their relationships look like? What would their communities look like? What would their, children grow up to be like? You know what I'm saying? If we had access to this knowledge again.
Absolutely. So, sis, I want you to please share with us one tip, one quote, and a book. You already shared with us the book.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, you can tell us where they can find you. But I want you to give us one tip that you would give to women on how they can lead and shine bright in their life using whatever principles it is that you have used?
One tip that I would suggest, and this is, a tip that I am currently working on mastering myself. I've gotten, what I mean, the primary gist of it, but it takes practice. So I would encourage my sisters to practice the art of self-partnering, practice the art of self-intimacy, self-partnering and self-intimacy, because we have, every being on this earth has a masculine and feminine energy, a divine masculine and a divine feminine energy. And it's our responsibility to understand how to master ourselves so much to where those energies are balanced. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We can now be in harmony with our male counterparts and vice versa. Our male counterparts can be in harmony with us,
yeah,
so but that comes from self-partnering. And I say this because I feel like we have moved into a new paradigm of relationships, the way we do relationships, the way our grandparents, and even to our grandparents, great parents, and even parents have done relationships. It was based on, oh, I need a man because he's supposed to be the provider, and he's supposed to, you know what I'm saying, do this and that, and the woman has a specific role. Well, we're in a modern time now where those paradigms have changed, and we have to accept it. Women now are earning, you know what I'm saying, sometimes more than their men. You know
yes,
what I mean? And that's okay. But because of those old paradigms, it causes friction in what the creator is doing new in our lives. The creator is urging us to, get past the survival level, and let's elevate our relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't necessarily have to be I have to have a man in my life to have all the physical and basic needs. I need to have a man in my life to be a co-creator with me.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And not just the provider. And I see so many relationships suffer because they're operating on an old paradigm. Even my past relationships suffered because of that,
yes,
because we were stuck on this old paradigm, as opposed to elevating to a newer level and saying, okay, how can I be a co-creator with you? You know,
yes.
in order to do that, self-partnering, self-intimacy. The Sweet Yoni Love Letters are has a whole bunch of different holistic modalities to help you understand self-partnering.
Awesome.
Um, One quote that I would share is, I wanted to share an African quote earlier when I was thinking about it, but I'm going to share Nelson Mandela's quote, where he said that it always seems impossible until it is done. You know, like the
Absolutely.
journey always seems impossible until you start doing it, until you start seeing manifestations coming forth, you know. And what was the other question again? Where they can find
Oh,
me?
but I want you to tell them where they can get your book when it launches, or how they can stay connected to you.
Actually, I have a surprise for you all. I am going to be sharing and releasing the first 3 chapters
Yay.
of the Sweet Yoni Love Letters. So if you go to bit.ly/Yoni Love Letters, you will be able to get access to the first 3 chapters. As well as, if you go further down the page, you can find out more about me. You can go to my social links are on that page. So
Awesome.
bit.ly/Yoni Love Letters.
Awesome.
So that's the first 3, the ABCs, because the way I broke it down is like an A to Z type of guide. So you get the
Oh,
ABCs
nice.
of Yoni Love, So I think you guys would enjoy that.
Oh, sis, I am so proud of you. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. I thank you. With all the difficulties we had tonight, I thank you that you stuck through it, because I know you do have a little one, and I have a little one, and Russ is probably like, you better come and get your child. Um,
Right.
but I thank you so much for sticking it out. To our audience, I hope you check Satta out and go and get the first 3 chapters of her book. I'm so proud of her that she pushed through and she got it done. If you are looking for a community to support and grow your dreams, visions, and goals. You can check out my tribe on Facebook called the Polished Lifestyle Community, or you could go to bit.ly/PLC Tribe, and I will be there to let you in and continue to support your growth, because this is what it's about. As sisters, as women, we need to support each other. I'm all about, listen, no hate, no competition is over here. I'm all about putting my sisters on a pedestal so they can grow, because I know when they grow, I will grow. So if you're looking for a community where we support each other, hop on over there. I hope you have a blessed night. Talk to you soon. See you next week for episode 5 of the Polished Lifestyle TV.
Thank you so much, Sterling.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.